Here's another way to practice simple past and used to, and also would. You don't have a paper copy of this handout. You can just read it on the screen. At the top it says, what have you learned about differences and similarities between simple past and used to? What about would? Can I change any of these sentences to used to or would? Okay, so let's see. What we're looking at is lots of sentences with simple past, and those verbs are marked in red. First, I'll just read through it, and then if you want, you can pause and you can read and think about which verbs could be in used to, could be changed to used to. Okay? So first, let's just read it from the top. These are not paragraphs, these are just numbered sentences. Number 1, my grandfather was born in 1899. 2, he and his wife got married in secret. The reason was that she wanted to continue working. In those days, women did not work after they got married. She wanted to work to help her mother because her mother was a widow. He retired when he was 65, but he didn't like being retired. He got another job and kept it until he was 80. He kept driving until he was 90, but that was probably not a good idea. He and my grandmother were very active. They often came to our house to do housework because they liked to be helpful. My grandfather often mowed the lawn and worked in the garden. He even climbed trees when he was an old man. My grandmother yelled at him because she didn't want him to get hurt. They lived until they were 90 and 92. He died just 2 weeks after she did. If you want now, you can pause and you can think for yourself which verbs could possibly be written in used to. Okay, now you can, if you've thought about the verbs, let's go ahead and talk about this together. And I will talk about the ones that I would change to used to. Remember, used to has to be a repeated action, a past habit, not a one-time action. The first one I would choose would be this one here. In those days, women did not use to work. Make sure that you have the base form for used to and the base form for your main verb work. Nothing else for number 2. Number 3, I'm not going to change any of those. I'm going to keep those in simple past. Number 4, I can change the be verb. What would it be? Used to be. I could also change this one. Notice this one has a frequency adverb often before the verb, and we would do it like this. Often, used to come. And the next one, my grandfather often used to mow the lawn. And okay, this time we're connecting 2 verbs with and. So we're probably going to make those match. But this is not the best way. Used to mow and used to work. It's not necessary to repeat used to. So what I would probably do is get rid of used to and then just keep my main verb work with my base form, and it matches my verb mow. So the word used to here is controlling the verb mow and the verb work because they are connected by and. I could also change climbed. He even used to climb trees. And my grandmother used to yell. I think all the others I would keep in simple past. Okay, if you're curious about would, a lot of those would be the same ones. Remember, would has to be with an action verb, not a stative verb. There are some differences in the ways that we use used to and would. And it's not easy to find a very clear explanation for that. But if you're curious, let's go ahead and see which ones I might change to would. I don't want to change this one, women did not used to work. I want to keep that in used to because that's showing how the past was different from today. Would is more for an action that repeated several times. Okay, number 4, I cannot change this one to would because be is a stative verb, but I could choose this one with come. All right, so that would be would come, but I also have this frequency adverb. I'm going to put it here. They would often come to our house. And I could also change this one if I want. My grandfather would often mow the lawn and work in the garden. Okay, it's the same thing we talked about before. Would is controlling the verb mow, and would is also controlling the verb work. Base form, base form. I don't need to repeat would right here before work. I could possibly change this one. He would even climb trees, and my grandmother would yell at him. Okay, not these others. Okay, but keep in mind what we talked about in that other video about would and used to, if you watch that one. What we really want is a nice mixture. So I might not want to have, number 4 would, number 5 would. I might want to mix up would, used to, and simple past. Okay, so I hope this gives you a little bit more practice with used to and would. Remember, simple past is always correct in all of these sentences. You want to make sure you know all your irregular verbs. And let's see. Here, just in case you're curious, here's a picture of, these are my grandparents. That's Frieda and Floyd. One interesting thing about her that I didn't know when I was a little kid, or I was surprised to find out, when she was a little girl, she used to speak German. And she was born in 1901, and then around 1914, 1915, World War I was going on, and Germany was the enemy of the United States. So everybody who spoke German stopped. They couldn't speak German anymore. Okay, So these are the grandparents that I spent a lot of time with while I was growing up. All right, see you next time.